If you thought the 10th Parliament was weird and wacky, well, this past week, it just got a bit more weirder and wackier with the election of two of the most flamboyant characters you'll ever come across. The first one likes to fly around in a helicopter for fun. His own helicopter, which he sometimes flies himself. He's often been described as fabulously wealthy. And he's not a newcomer to Parliament, having been a previous MP from Juja. Now he gets a second bite of the cherry.
The journey has been long, tiring, but a lot to continue. Those who think that this is the end, this is just but the beginning.
The other one looks more like a poster boy for a rap music video, complete with baggy clothes and, of course, the ever-present bling. His name is Mike Mbuvi Kyoko. His friends simply call him Sonko.
Bado kuna ile element ya ukabila. Sisi tukichaguliwa kama viongozi. Sisi ni viongozi ambao hatufati ukabila.
Sonko may not have a clue about what a standing order is, or indeed what the dress code in Bunge will be. But that's probably the last thing on his mind right now. After all, he's the MP-elect for Makadara. Now, the interesting thing is that these two are from the same party, a party led by someone who knows a thing or two about rocking the boat. The woman known affectionately as the Iron Lady, Gishugu MP Martha Karua. She's now basking in the glory, having defeated the entire coalition government by winning 2 out of the 3 seats.
It was a straight win. Let those with sour grapes not try to claim that our candidates were elected because they used money.
Now, it's no secret that the Iron Lady wants to be president, and her party's victories this past week should be a clear message and a wake-up call that she's a serious contender, and that if ODM and PNU continue to conduct their affairs on a business-as-usual attitude, they're in for a shock come 2012.
We are not a coalition in the coalition government. We are in the opposition, and we are very buoyed by the entry of the 2 MPs-elect, who will now beef up our opposition in Parliament.
Anyone who thought that Kenya was the same country after the promulgation of the new constitution had better quickly think again. The time of the outsider, it seems, is at hand.
And what I find interesting about our politics, you and I, it's irrelevant where we vote. You win this next election in 2012 if you win that 18 to 24 demographic. That's it.
That's all
you got to do. So if you're not communicating with these guys, you're not even in the game.
Yeah. And just listen to what that famous son of a Kenyan father had to say about his father's country of birth at the just concluded United Nations General Assembly in New York.
And even as some governments roll back reform, we also celebrate the courage of a president in Colombia who willingly stepped aside, or the promise of a new constitution in Kenya. The common thread of progress is the principle that government is accountable to its citizens.
And maybe that's why Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister Mutula Kilonzo has suddenly become the champion of defending the Kenyan judicial system. Or maybe he knows something the rest of us don't. All of a sudden, the minister has found his voice and has been telling the ICC chief prosecutor that Kenya's judicial system has the capability to prosecute the ringleaders of the post-election violence. If you recall, just a few months ago, members of parliament would quickly vacate the House every time one of their own stood up to call for a vote on the so-called local special tribunal. Why, you may be asking, is Mutula Kilonzo suddenly pushing for that same tribunal? Did someone at The Hague give him a sneak peek at the list? Could Mutula Kilonzo know whom Chief Prosecutor Luis Moreno Ocampo is coming after? We recently learned that the list of 20 names is now down to 2. The question is, which 2?
The language that Ocampo used indicates that he is having some people in mind who are bigger than the ones on the list by saying PNU and ODM. It is simply meaning the back of the baton will be end up in State House and the Prime Ministers as the leaders of the two parties.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you who the commander-in-chief is, or indeed who was then the undisputed leader of the opposition. Maybe that's why these two have become practically inseparable. Maybe that's why these same two allowed this man, who's been indicted by Ocampo's same court and has a warrant of arrest on his head, to be here on Kenya's second Independence Day. Maybe they were sending a bold message to Ocampo and anyone who plans to indict anyone in this region, namely, that if they want to make any arrests, they'd better personally come here and do so themselves if they have the guts. Whatever the case, you've heard the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And you can only wonder what these three were thinking as they were trying to release these doves of peace and balloons of celebration. But then again, maybe a picture is nothing more than just that. A picture. This is Jeff Koinange for 3 Sides of a Coin.